सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
You're listening to Bare Knuckle Bhakti Shorties on the Bhakti Recovery Podcast with Jiva G, coming at you every Monday with a little spiritual something. Good morning. It is 6 a.m, and I am already in the woods. Such a relief. It's been raining here, and I haven't been able to have my walks. And today, there's no rain. It's partly cloudy, but it's fine. And I'm very much grateful. I want to talk about the importance of keeping your side of the street clean. Oh boy. That's one to unpack. Especially while harboring resentments, and trying to get over those somehow, trying to get through those, trying to get on top of those, trying to get underneath those, trying to get away from those, trying to get on the side of them. No matter how you approach it, they're there. And when your program is not strong enough at that moment, while having a resentment, we do have tools to get over them. And one of them, well, two of them, the two most important tools for me at the moment is keeping my side of the street clean in my actions while being able to talk to people and express how I'm feeling. And those two things are really important. The importance of those two things have been the only thing that has been saving me through this time at the moment. And I wonder, I'm out here. It smells wonderful. The earth, the leaves, the trees. After days and days of rains and floods, actually, we had here lots of floods. The smell, it's glorious. And I think to myself, while we have all of this beautiful nature, the birds singing, life-giving oxygen, life-giving greenery, filter system, everything in its pristine perfection. And I have to choose to have a resentment. It just seems unfair. It just seems so unfair. Resentments are also a reminder that I have work to do on myself. They're a reminder of unprocessed stuff. It is a reminder that while I'm on this path, I have not hit the destination. And I would like to say, theme yesterday for me was, the path is the destination. The destination is the path. The destination is not coming to enlightenment, although it would be nice. My experience has been, if I'm staying on that path of staying close to God, staying close to Krishna, staying close to my recovery, doing the things that I've learned, practicing them. When I'm doing that, the chances of all those resentments and all that stuff kind of fall or just distance themselves. And this includes, for me, my recovery, being out here in the woods every day. It brings me an immense amount of peace. And like I said of one other shorty, I guess you hear the airplanes. You know, I live in an area which is about 20 minutes from the airport. And I think like every 3 months they sort of navigate the landing and taking off in different directions so that not one place has all of the noise. And at the moment, that's our neighborhood. So as you heard, the airplanes are there. And this is something, if I concentrate on, can ruin my whole walk. Yes, I can be like, oh, it's such a beautiful walk. But if it weren't for those damn airplanes. So what do I choose today? You know, and the thing is, if I don't choose, it will choose for me. And chances are, if I'm not in a good space, the choice of my day is going to be a miserable one, full of resentment, full of like mowing over in my head what exactly happened over and over, becoming more and more like, how dare you, more and more righteous. It's a waste of time and energy. It's draining and does nothing. Nothing except for make me walk in circles, talking to myself, having conversations with people who aren't there. What a waste of time. And look, I'm here. You can't look, you can hear. I'm here in this beautiful nature. This is where I can quiet my mind, and that's so important, to quiet the mind. For me, using everything that I can to quiet my mind, because it is such a busy place up there. In the program, they talk about a committee in your head. I've got like 6 committees in my head, and those committees have committees. It gets pretty complex if I'm deep diving into that. But if I'm diving into other things, like reading Shastra, reading the Gita, reading the Bible, listening to my teachers, listening to lectures, praying, chanting, going for walks, doing physical exercises. Yes, it sounds like a lot. And when you're in the practice, it's not. Because it's either that, like I said before, or my day will choose for me. If I exercise the tools, then I've made a choice. And even not making a choice of keeping all that stuff at bay. Now let's like go beyond resentments. Let's talk about Maya, the energies of the material world. Let's talk about that. The more we buy into it, the more we concentrate on what's wrong, concentrate on the things that want to get us back into that negative way of thinking. The more we engage, the worse it gets. But here it is, and here's what I always talk about. Where's the balance? We can't just say like, oh, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. But we can choose to say, okay, I'm going to do things to get myself out of my head. And sometimes it doesn't work. Let's face it, sometimes it just doesn't. Or it works for a minute. Or 2 minutes. Or a day. Or a week or a month or a year. And then it comes back. Boom. Just reminds me every day that I kind of have to be on guard. My karma has put me into that space. You know, I think it makes no sense for me to compare myself with someone else, especially when we're dealing with, you know, I've talked about that before with the measuring stick. When we're born, we get a certain amount of points or minus points when we're born or whatever. So my My board is the minus point of 50. And in this life, I've moved up to 0. Wow, so that's a huge achievement. Some people are born with plus 50. They've moved up 50 and they're at 100. Amazing. So it's not really about where we are, it's how far we've traveled, how much we've learned, how much we've added, what we've done in this life. And fact is, there are going to be people who are a lot more serene than I, a lot more clever than I, and all of that stuff. This is fact. So for me to compare myself with someone is not the right approach for me. The right approach for me is to say, look how far this person has come, coming from this point of, and look how far I have come from this point. And what do we have in common? How did we get there? And in my life, it's like I've been talking about lately, is surrounding myself with people who do want to get there and have like practical tools to do so. Everything is here at my fingertips. Everything. I have a choice on a daily basis. Am I going to be resentful? Am I going to be a jerk? To myself, mostly, because I really have learned, for the most part, how to at least fake it till I make it. Or am I going to choose love, forgiveness, compassion, understanding? What am I going to choose today? What am I going to choose this minute? Right now, this morning, I choose love, compassion, and understanding with a little bit of a kick in the ass afterwards. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you do it? What is it that you do? Ask yourself, not what I do, but what is it that you guys do? Like, sit there right now. Close your eyes. And ask yourself, what am I going to choose today in my life, to have in my life? And more importantly, how am I going to make that reality? What am I choosing to put in my life today? And how am I going to make that a reality? And then just do it. Whether you want to or not. It's like finding that inner parent, that inner authority, that inner loving parent. I don't mean the authority as far as like the critical parent. The one who's going to lead. Because it's in there, no matter how broken we are. The inner parent is in there. It's inherent because that inner parent is part and parcel of God. Part and parcel of Krishna. Tap into that. Ask Krishna today, what am I going to do to help myself and in turn helping others to become the best version of myself today? What am I going to do and how am I going to do it? That's a very powerful practice. And if you're using specific tools that help, even if they're the simplest things, do them consciously. Consciously. Do you guys hear the roaring river in the background? Unreal. We have a river right by my house, a huge, beautiful river. It looks sort of like the Colorado River. Super beautiful. And because of the flooding, I've never seen it so high, and it's roaring. Nature has just done what nature does. And I always find that so eye-opening. When I look at a river, it doesn't say sorry for the trees that are in the way. It fills up because the rain came from the sky and nobody's blaming everyone. The tree's not like, hey, Rain, you're such a jerk. You've rained and ruined my, my space here that wasn't full of water. And then the river doesn't say, hey, I can't contain you anymore. The river just fills. And the trees tolerate. And the grass tolerates. And nobody's blaming anyone. What an achievement. What a lesson. I love that. It's also the same with expectations. And see, all these things that I'm talking about are not random things. They all concern having resentments because there's expectations and blame and lack of responsibility for our part. Now, even if our part is just being a tree standing there, we didn't really do anything. Our part is to say, okay, I can't change it. That's the wisdom to know the difference. I can't change it. The water is there. What am I going to do about it? The only thing I can do about it is just let the water be there. Oh, it could just be that easy, huh? My goodness, do you hear those sirens? Because of the floods, I think there's just craziness going on. What I really love is, if we look at the human body, much like the river and the trees, the rain, what I love about the human body is that every body part has a function in order to serve the whole body. Could you imagine if the liver was angry at the heart? I mean, it does in a way, but says, hey, heart, all you do is beat. Why don't you filter like me? And everyone has these expectations. Every organ has an expectation of the other organ. And in a way, they are connected, right? And in order to have a healthy body, first of all, we have to make the right decisions, what we put in our body, how we treat our body, and all that stuff. That's our decision. That's the brain. And our brain can decide good things and can decide bad things. The liver just does what the liver does. And it filters out the things that we put in the body, our heart beats, all of that stuff. If we want a functioning body, we have to do some work. It's just that simple. Yeah, guys, I don't know if I have anything more to say. I think it's quite enough. Remember, we have a choice today. You want to be that tolerant tree where the flood water is at your knees and saying, okay, it's the flood water, this too shall pass. Or do you want to complain about it and make your life miserable and can't change it anyway? Yeah. Do we want the committee in our heads telling us all kinds of nonsense? I say stick with people who empower us. I say do the things that empower us. The only thing I ever wish for, truly wish for, yearn and ache for, is to rest in the loving love of God. There's really nothing else that I want. I don't want anything. The question is, how do I get there? How do I get there? And I got lots of ways getting there, but it's still a long road in front of me. But I'm doing it. Anyway, you guys, love you all. Have a great week. to you soon. Haribo! Thanks for listening. I hope you liked the Monday Shorties. Don't forget to check out our full-length episodes on Thursdays. If you like what you heard, spread the word. Peace out.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.